right, let's quickly bring you some breaking inputs coming in on the Gyanvapi case. The Gyanvapi hearing is currently underway, and as we all know, this is a crucial day for Gyanvapi Mosque because the court is listening in to the order on carbon dating. For more details, let's quickly go across to Pranchu. Pranchu, if you could break down the entire court hearing, which has just begun in a short while from now.
Yes, Akanksha, the hearing has started in the Gyanvapi case, as you rightly said. Now the eyes are on that at what moment during this course of hearing the court is going to dispose of or give its verdict on the petition that was filed by the Hindu side seeking the carbon dating of that structure, which it calls as an ancient shivling. And of course the Muslim side says that it is disputable because it is still not clear that whether it's a shivling or it is a fountain. So Muslim side calls it a fountain, Hindu side claims that it is a shivling, and then therefore the Hindu side has prayed that carbon dating should be done to ascertain its age. Muslim side has objected to it. Now remember, the case entirely, the case basically is about the Ma Shingar Gauri versus the Gyanvapi case, and where the petitioners originally have prayed that they may be allowed to have a daily access of worship to the to the Shingar Gauri engravings on the walls of the mosque. But in between this request was moved. So we'll have to wait at what point in time the court is going to dispose of this particular petition. But yes, it is going to give its order on this request by the Hindu side. And that brings this matter to a very interesting point. Remember, in a different case, that is the case of 1991, about which we have often talked, that case has moved from the district court to the high court at this very moment, when at that point in time, that is in April 2021, the Varanasi court has ordered for the ASI survey, to which the Muslim side has challenged in High Court. High Court has subsequently stayed the orders of the ASI probe, and that matter is since being heard in the High Court. Now this is the second petition, the Shingar Gauri versus the Gyanvapi case, again in which the court is faced with this question that whether the carbon dating should be allowed or not. So in case the carbon dating is allowed by the High Court, by the district court, we all know that the parties opposed to it, the Muslim side, will definitely go to the High Court. But before that, the wait continues. What the court has to say. So I think in next 15-20 minutes we'll get the verdict from the district judges court.
As far as the issue of carbon dating is concerned, Pranchu, important to also highlight how even some from the Hindu side are opposing this, and it's becoming a contentious matter considering it's going to be tampering with the entire structure of the mosque.
Yes, Akanksha, see, very interesting arguments were made in the court. The Muslim side and also some sections from the Hindu side, they had very clear objections to it. Now, some in the Hindu side, they clearly felt that this entire demand of doing a carbon dating, that is an act which is an irreligious act. It will be basically defiling the ancient structure, which is, of course, they claim is a shivling. So, and therefore, they objected to this particular demand, after which the petitioners, in this case, the Vishnu Jain, Advocate Vishnu Jain, who has actually moved his request for carbon dating, he said that he actually wants the carbon dating of that entire area, not this shivling in itself. But if you talk about the words in that petition, the original words, of course, mention carbon dating of that structure, which the Hindu side claims as a shivling.
Right.
Now, Muslim side's objection, and a very strong objection, had been, yes.
No, please go ahead, because I was just about to ask you, well, that is the objections by the Hindu side. What is the objection being presented by the Muslim side as far as carbon dating is concerned?
Yes, Akanksha, see, the Muslim side's first big argument was that carbon dating is generally done on fossils. So living animals and plants who have died to a certain their age, that is where the carbon dating is done. And if you do the research on what carbon dating is, it exactly defines carbon dating as a process to ascertain the age of fossils, that is the remnants of plants or animals, to ascertain their stage. The big question is that whether carbon dating is done on non-living substances, on any object, any stone. That was the first big objection by the Muslim side. The second major objection from the Muslim side, Akanksha, was that this petition is not about ascertaining the age or the time period of a particular structure. They said that this primary petition before the court is that whether the Hindu side, the original Muslim women petitioners or the Hindu petitioners, can they be allowed the daily access of worship at the Shringar Gauri? And the third objection they raised was that the entire Advocate Commissioner's report, on the basis of which the Hindu side says that this particular disputed structure is an ancient shivling and Muslim side says that it is a fountain, that report itself has not been, decided upon by the court. So the Muslim side says that first decide and debate on the findings of the Advocate Commissioner's report and then come to this question that whether you want to do a carbon dating or not. So, in plain words, what they want to say is that first the court should decide that whether the disputed structure is a shivling or it is a fountain. And in case it is a shivling, then come to the other question. So I think these are the three major arguments which have been given by the Muslim side while opposing the request of carbon dating of the structure.
Right. Important to also highlight in terms of what the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid... all right, I'm also joined in by Ananya Bhatnagar on this news story. Ananya, if you could take us through what you're getting to know in terms of the hearing which is currently underway.
Well, yes, the hearing is currently underway. Remember that the court had to pass out an order with regards to the carbon dating plea that has been filed by some of these petitioners seeking the carbon dating of this particular structure that has been found during, in fact, the Advocate Commissioner survey. And remember that since now in the Gyanvapi case, the Order 7 Rule 11 application has been dismissed, then the legal sanctity of the Advocate Commissioner survey also remains to be seen at this moment of time, because it would now remain, because if the Order 7 Rule 11 would have been allowed by the court and the suit would have been dismissed, but then the Advocate Commissioner's survey would have gone completely futile. But now, since it has been upheld, since the suit is maintainable, and now this particular case, the carbon dating becomes a very, very important aspect. And that is the reason why the Hindu side is actually seeking it, because the carbon dating is basically to search out as to from what era or what year does this particular thing belong to, or from when this was there. So the whole process of carbon dating is done mostly on fossils, but this time it's being sought in this particular case so as to ascertain as to whether the claims of the Hindu side are true or not, or whether the Muslim side, what the Muslim side is saying is completely baseless or not. That is a basis why the Hindu side is actually seeking the carbon dating of this particular structure that has been found during the Advocate Commissioner survey, which the Hindu side claims to be a shivling, while the Muslim side says it's a fountain. So it would be clear after a carbon dating is ordered into this particular case, but we'll have to wait and watch for what the Varanasi court has to say at this particular point of time.
Right, let me quickly go back to Pranshu, who continues to stay live with us. Pranshu, the nature of the order, of course, is going to be very crucial, because that is going to determine whether or not it will be challenged in a higher court. So I'd like you to throw light and expand on how important it is going to be, and what are the chances that this will reach a higher court?
Yes, the interesting point here is that this particular case, the Gyanvapi versus the Shringar Gauri case, is also becoming almost similar in nature to the different case, that is the Lord Vishweshwar Mahadev versus the Gyanvapi case, which was originally filed in 1991 and at the moment is pending before the High Court. High Court is going on with the regular hearing in that case. The interesting similarity now is that there in High Court you already have an issue that whether the ASI survey should be done or not. And now before the District Judge Court, there is also a similar question that whether carbon dating should be done or not. In case carbon dating is allowed, is sanctioned, is allowed, we all know that ASI will automatically get involved, because that sort of expertise to do a carbon dating, to do...
All right, let's also listen into a